My friends, have you ever wondered why some people stay stuck in the same place year after year, while others quietly move forward even if no one is watching? The difference is simple. Some people have plans, and some people have only wishes. Some people work, and some people only wonder. And the truth is this: no plan means no progress. And no progress means a life spent forever wondering, what if? Today, I want to talk to you about something we all experience. Many of us keep saying, one day I will start, one day I will change, one day life will get better. But my dear friends, own day is not a day on the calendar. Life rewards the ones who take small steps, daily steps, silent steps. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need everyone to support you. You don't need to make noise about your dreams. You just need the courage to begin and the patience to continue. Because progress is not loud. Progress is not dramatic. Progress is a practice. It is a discipline. It is a choice you make every single day, even on days when your mind wants to quit. And let me tell you something very important. If you don't design your days will start designing your life. If you don't choose progress, confusion will choose you. If you don't create silence, noise will control you. So today, let's explore how a simple shift from no plan to daily practice, from noise to silence, from wandering to working, can transform your entire destiny. My friend, when we talk about small daily progress being more powerful than a perfect big plan, we are talking about the real secret behind every meaningful transformation. We often wait for the perfect moment, the perfect motivation, the perfect schedule, the perfect clarity. Yet life rarely gives us these perfect conditions. What life gives us every single day is a chance. A chance to move 1 inch forward. A chance to become 1% better. A chance to slowly build the version of ourselves we dream about. And the truth is that one small step taken today is more valuable than 1,000 dreams postponed until tomorrow. Because progress is not a gift, it is a practice. And every practice begins with something small. Think about the first time you learned anything meaningful in life. Whether it was riding a bicycle, learning to read, learning to cook, or even starting a business, you did not begin with mastery. You began with tiny, imperfect, shaky attempts. You fell, you fumbled, you struggled. But those small steps, repeated every day, built a skill that later felt effortless. Yet somehow, when we grow older, we forget this simple truth. We think everything must be big, impressive, and flawless. But life does not change with big gestures. Life changes with daily habits. A child doesn't wake up one morning suddenly able to walk perfectly. The child stands, falls, cries, tries again, hundreds of times. If the child stopped because the progress was too small, the child would never walk. But the child continues, and because of those tiny steps, miracles happen. You see, the world celebrates results, but life celebrates effort. People clap when they see your success, but the universe watches the small daily actions when nobody is observing. And that is where true progress is born. Imagine a plant. You water it today and it looks exactly the same. You water it tomorrow, still the same. You water it on the 3rd, 5th, 10th day, nothing seems to change. But beneath the soil, the roots are strengthening. The foundation is forming. The growth is invisible until one day it breaks the surface. For years people say, suddenly it grew, but nothing grows suddenly. It grows silently, slowly, consistently. Your life works the same way. Those 5 minutes of meditation you do every morning may look small, but they calm your mind, one drop at a time. That one chapter you read each night may look small, but it reshapes your thinking page by page. That one commitment to drink water, to take a walk, to practice gratitude, these tiny choices build a stronger, clearer, more centered you. And yes, maybe people around you will not notice the changes at first. They might say, "What difference does 5 minutes make?" But 5 minutes done daily beats 1 hour done occasionally. Let me tell you something from daily life that we all experience. Have you ever tried to clean a room that has been ignored for months? It feels overwhelming. But if you clean 5 minutes a day, every day, you never reach that overwhelming point again. Why? Because consistency reduces chaos. Tiny efforts prevent big problems. Your mind, your relationships, your dreams, they all work exactly like that room. When you practice small improvements, you prevent your life from becoming mentally and emotionally cluttered. The reason many people remain stuck is not because they lack talent, opportunity, or intelligence. It is because they underestimate the power of small, persistent actions. They keep waiting for motivation, for the perfect plan, for everything to align. But life does not wait. And every day we postpone small progress, we feed regret. Every day we delay action, we strengthen fear. Every day we wait for a big plan, we lose the chance for small movement. And here is the magical part. The moment you take one small step, life opens another step. When you start walking, the path reveals itself. When you start practicing, clarity begins to expand. When you show up consistently, even for 5 minutes, the universe begins to respond to your discipline. Progress is like flowing water. It does not need to be a waterfall. Even a small, gentle stream can reshape mountains over time. When people admire someone successful, they only see the final picture. They see the confidence, the achievements, the peace, the growth. They don't see the daily struggles, the days of doubt, the nights of practice, the quiet discipline behind closed doors. But everything you admire in someone is built through tiny actions, repeated hundreds of times. A peaceful mind is built through small moments of silence. A strong body is built through small moments of movement. A successful life is built through small moments of courage. So, my friend, don't underestimate the power of what you can do today. Maybe it is just writing one paragraph. Maybe it is reading for 10 minutes. Maybe it is drinking more water. Maybe it is waking up slightly earlier. But these tiny shifts create big transformations when repeated. Even the smallest effort has a ripple effect. If you grow even 1% today and repeat that growth daily, you will not recognize yourself in a year. That is the hidden power of daily progress. Silence creates clarity, while noise creates confusion. This is a truth we all experience, but rarely pause to understand. In today's world, we are constantly surrounded by noise. Noise from people, noise from opinions, noise from responsibilities, noise from doubts, noise from social media, noise from our own mind. We wake up with noise, go to bed with noise, and live in the middle of noise. And then we wonder why we feel lost, overwhelmed, frustrated, and disconnected. But the real reason is simple. When your environment is noisy, your inner world becomes cloudy. And when your inner world is cloudy, your decisions become blurry. Silence isn't the absence of sound, it is the presence of understanding. It is the space where your heart speaks, your mind settles, and your soul breathes. Think about a glass of muddy water. If you keep shaking it, the water stays dirty and unclear. But if you place the glass down and allow it to be still, the dirt slowly settles and the water becomes clear on its own. Your mind works exactly like that glass. When you constantly move from one distraction to another, from one notification to another, from one worry to another, your thoughts stay unsettled. They swirl around, making everything appear complicated. But when you sit in silence, even for a few minutes, the unnecessary thoughts settle, the important ones rise, and suddenly life feels clearer. You don't gain clarity by thinking more, you gain clarity by thinking less and listening more. In daily life, silence has a very practical power. Imagine you're trying to find a solution to a personal problem, a relationship issue, a career decision, a financial worry. If you ask 10 people for advice, you will receive 10 different opinions. And instead of helping, that noise will confuse you even more. But if you sit quietly for a moment, take a deep breath, and listen to your own intuition, you will notice something surprising. You already know what to do. The answer was always inside you. You just couldn't hear it through the noise. The mind has wisdom, but it speaks softly. Noise speaks loudly. So most people follow the noise and ignore their own inner compass. Silence also has the power to deepen relationships. Sometimes, the most powerful conversations are the ones where you say nothing. When someone is hurting, you don't always need to give advice or explain anything. Just being present in silence, listening with your heart, not your mouth, has the power to heal. We often forget that people don't only need answers, they need understanding. They don't need our opinions, they need our presence. Silence gives you the ability to truly listen. And when you truly listen, you connect not only with what someone says, but with what they feel. Let me give you a simple daily life example. Imagine you're driving a car and your GPS is telling you the directions. If the music is loud and people in the car are talking loudly, will you be able to hear the instructions? No, you might miss the turn. You might take the wrong exit. But if the car becomes quiet for a moment, you can clearly hear the direction and you move forward confidently. In the same way, your inner guidance system, your intuition, your wisdom, your inner voice is always giving you directions. But if your life is too noisy, you will miss the signals and take the wrong turns. Silence is the moment you turn down the volume of life so you can hear the guidance of your soul. Silence also helps you understand yourself. Many people are strangers to their own thoughts. They know their job, their family, their responsibilities, but they don't know who they are. They are constantly distracted, constantly busy, constantly running. And when you keep running without stopping, life feels like a blur. But when you pause and sit in silence, you begin to meet yourself, your dreams, your fears, your true feelings, your authentic desires. Silence introduces you to the version of you that you've been ignoring. Another beautiful thing about silence is that it teaches patience. In silence, you learn how to wait without frustration. You learn how to breathe without feeling rushed. You learn how to be present without seeking constant stimulation. Silence slows down the mind in a world that is always trying to speed you up. And when you slow down internally, you become more observant. You notice details you never saw before. You appreciate moments you used to overlook. You become calmer, more grounded, more aware. Many people think silence means doing nothing. But silence is actually doing something very important. It is recharging your mind. Just like your phone needs to pause and charge before it can function properly, your mind also needs small moments of silence to function clearly. A noisy mind makes poor decisions. A silent mind makes wise decisions. Wisdom is born in silence. And here is the most inspiring part. Silence strengthens you spiritually. When you sit in stillness, you feel a connection to something greater than yourself. You feel supported, guided, and protected. You realize you are not alone. You feel a gentle presence, a soft reassurance that everything will fall into place. This is why spiritual traditions around the world encourage moments of silence. Because in silence, you don't just hear yourself, you hear life. Your day is your direction, and whether you realize it or not, every morning you wake up, life hands you a steering wheel. Some people steer their day with intention, clarity, and purpose. Others leave the wheel loose, letting circumstances, emotions, and distractions drive for them. And when you don't guide your day starts guiding you, usually towards stress, confusion, and scattered effort. The truth is simple: if you want a better life, you must first design better days, because your day is not just 24 hours. It is your foundation, your energy, your alignment, your momentum. The way you spend one day often becomes the way you spend your entire life. Think about it. Every successful journey begins with a destination. Before you start driving a car, you know where you want to go. Before you cook a meal, you know what dish you want. Before building a house, you have a blueprint. But when it comes to our lives, we often wake up without a plan, without intention, without conscious direction, and then wonder why the day feels chaotic and unproductive. It is not because life is against us. It is because we did not take a few minutes to align ourselves before the day began. A day without direction becomes a day of reaction. A day with direction becomes a day of progress. In daily life, you can see this truth everywhere. Imagine two people waking up at the same time. One starts the day with even a small moment of intention, maybe a prayer, a deep breath, a to-do list, a moment of gratitude, or simply deciding one meaningful task for the day. The other wakes up and immediately checks their phone, scrolls through endless posts, rushes out of bed, and allows the world to set their mood. By afternoon, one feels calm and purposeful. The other feels overwhelmed and confused. Nothing big happened. Just the direction of the day changed. The mind that begins with clarity moves with confidence. The mind that begins with chaos moves with confusion. When you design your day consciously, you tell life, I am in charge. You choose your focus. You choose your energy. You choose your priorities. And that simple choice is what separates people who grow from people who remain stuck. The day becomes your teacher when you shape it instead of letting it shape you. Sometimes people say, I don't have time to plan my day. But the reality is, they don't have time because they don't plan. Even 5 minutes of conscious intention can prevent 5 hours of unnecessary stress. It is like sharpening your axe before cutting a tree. You can either spend hours struggling blindly or spend a few minutes preparing and finish smoothly. The people who organize their day do not have less work. They simply have more clarity. Let me give you a beautiful everyday example. Think of a student preparing for exams. One student studies randomly, picking any topic at any time, often switching tasks, feeling overwhelmed. Another student has a simple plan: one subject in the morning, one revision in the evening. Nothing dramatic, but by the end of the month, the difference is huge. The planned student feels confident, calm, and organized. The unplanned student feels anxious and unsure. Both studied. The difference was direction. Your life works exactly the same way. Without direction, your energy scatters into 100 tiny pieces. With direction, your energy becomes a laser, sharp, focused, powerful. And a single day lived with intention can create more progress than a whole week lived without clarity. Sometimes people think direction means perfection. It doesn't. You don't need to plan every minute. You don't need to control everything. You simply need to decide what truly matters today. Even one meaningful action gives your day purpose. One small promise kept builds confidence. One intentional decision shifts your inner state, and over time, those days add up. They become a pattern. A pattern becomes a habit becomes a lifestyle, and a lifestyle becomes your destiny. Another beautiful thing about designing your day is that it protects your mind from unnecessary noise. When you know what you want from the day, you are less affected by other people's negativity, distractions, or opinions. You don't waste energy on unimportant things. You don't jump from task to task. You don't let every small issue ruin your peace. You respond with wisdom instead of reacting with emotion. You remain centered even when life gets busy. Let me share a simple observation. Have you ever noticed how peaceful your day feels when you start your morning without rushing? When you take even a moment to breathe, think, or pray, the whole day flows gently. But when you rush, jump out of bed, check your phone, and run into the day, everything feels stressful. It is not the day that changed, it is your state that changed. The energy you begin with becomes the energy that follows you. That is why designing the first few minutes of your day is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Your day is like a seed. Plant it with intention, and it grows into something beautiful. Plant it with carelessness, and it grows into confusion. A day designed with purpose creates a life filled with meaning. A day left uncontrolled creates a life filled with regret. And no matter how far you want to go in life, everything begins with the direction you set today. Consistency wins even when motivation fades, because consistency is the quiet strength that keeps you moving when your emotions try to stop you. Motivation is beautiful. Yes, it is exciting, uplifting, powerful, but it is also temporary. It comes and goes like weather. One day you feel unstoppable. The next day you feel stuck. One day you want to conquer the world. The next day you don't even want to get out of bed. If your life depends only on motivation, you will live like a roller coaster, up one day, down the next. But if you build consistency, you build momentum. And once momentum starts working for you, even your difficult days become productive. Think about something simple, brushing your teeth. You don't wake up every day feeling motivated to brush your teeth. You don't jump out of bed shouting, "Yes! I can't wait to do this." But you still do it. Why? Because you have made it a habit, because it is part of your identity. Because you know that the long-term outcome is worth the small daily effort. This is what consistency does. It takes something you may not enjoy in the moment and turns it into something your future self will thank you for. In daily life, the people who succeed are not always the most talented, the smartest, or the most privileged. They are the ones who show up. They show up when it's easy, and they show up when it's hard. They show up when they are inspired, and they show up when they feel tired. Because consistency isn't about intensity, it's about commitment. It's about choosing progress over excuses. It's about taking small steps even when you don't feel like it. Imagine a person who goes to the gym only on days when they feel extremely motivated. They may go 3 times one week, then disappear for the next 2 weeks. Now imagine a person who goes every day or even 3 times a week without missing. Their workout may not always be perfect. They may go for just 20 minutes sometimes, but they show up. After a month, after 6 months, after a year, the difference becomes huge. One has results, the other has excuses. And the reason is nothing dramatic, it is simply consistency. Consistency works just like water dripping on a rock. 1 drop does nothing. 2 drops do nothing. But drop by drop, day after day, that rock begins to change. It becomes shaped, carved, transformed, not because of force, but because of persistence. Many people fail not because they lack ability, but because they give up too soon. They stop at drop number 30 when the breakthrough was waiting at drop number 300. Let's take another example. Imagine learning to play an instrument. The first day you feel excited. The second day you feel motivated. But by the third or fourth day, the excitement wears off. Now your fingers hurt, your brain feels tired, and you want to quit. But if you practice every single day, even for 10 minutes, you will improve. Your fingers will learn the movements. Your mind will understand the rhythm. And what felt impossible at the beginning will feel effortless later. Not because you practiced 1 hour on one day, but because you practiced daily for weeks. Consistency protects your dreams from the instability of your emotions. Your feelings may say, "I'm not in the mood," but your discipline says, "I'll do it anyway." Your mind may say, "It's too difficult," but your commitment says, "I'll try again." Your fear may say, "What if I fail?" But your consistency says, "What if I succeed?" Motivation pushes you into action. Consistency keeps you there. And here is something very powerful. When you stay consistent, your self-respect increases. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to believe in your ability to finish what you start. You stop depending on outer encouragement because you have built inner stability. You feel stronger, more confident, more centered. Consistency shapes your mind just as much as it shapes your future. In relationships, consistency builds trust. In business, consistency builds credibility. In spiritual growth, consistency builds awareness. In personal development, consistency builds transformation. Everything meaningful in life grows through repeated attention. A plant grows when you water it regularly, not when you flood it once. Your body grows when you exercise regularly, not when you work out once a month. Your mind grows when you feed it daily, not when you inspire it occasionally. Many people wait for the perfect day to start. But consistency teaches you something important. There is no perfect day. There is only today. And if you make today count, tomorrow will improve automatically. Even if you take tiny steps, a paragraph written, a 10-minute walk, a short meditation, a small learning session, each step becomes a seed for a better future. Life does not reward those who work occasionally. It rewards those who persist continuously. Even the universe responds to consistency. When you take steady steps, life opens steady paths. When you show commitment, life shows opportunities. When you remain disciplined, life remains generous.